Hello, podcast fam. I am thrilled to share some exciting news. My book, So Grow Lead, is officially live on Amazon. This book is more than just my story of starting a nonprofit and building a peanut butter factory in Malawi. So trust me, the ups and downs of that journey are worth the read. It's also packed with practical strategies to help nonprofit leaders like you tackle challenges with clarity, courage, and a whole lot of heart. If you've ever wondered how to turn your vision into reality, navigate the inevitable hurdles, and build something meaningful, whether in your organization or in your own life, this book is for you. I'd be so grateful for your support in spreading the word. Grab your copy of So Grow Lead in the show notes and on Amazon today. Let's keep sowing seeds of impact together. Are you a nonprofit professional who's feeling overwhelmed and burnt out? Well, welcome to the Lead with Heart podcast. I am your host, Haley Cooper. On this podcast, we will share stories of leadership, courage, and empathy that'll help you learn to take care of yourself, your staff, organization, and community. You will hear from nonprofit leaders who have been in your shoes and have learned best practices to raise more revenue and make a greater impact. Let's thrive together. Hello, welcome back to the Lead with Heart podcast. This is your host, Haley Cooper, and today I have Christine Barone from Painting Your Own Heart workshops. We met over LinkedIn, and I think I talk about this on every episode that I love LinkedIn, the power of it. I have no sponsorship or anything involved with it. I just love that you can connect with people, and we actually live 2 cities away from each other without even knowing it before we met, but just being able to connect and really build authentic relationships with people. Before we get started, Christine writes, designs, and facilitates creative expression workshops offering transformative healing through the power of color and art. Her slogan is Awaken the Creative You. She worked with nonprofit and for-profit organizations all over Southern California, including a dormitory school for at-risk teens. Christine's taught workshops virtually and in person and in the corporate sector for senior communities, women's group, trauma victims, veterans, rehab facilities, and cancer patients and survivors. She's an ex-ad agency owner, former nonprofit marketing outreach specialist, and visual storyteller with a passion for photography and the written word. Welcome, Christine. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm delighted.
Well, I know a little bit more about your story, and I would love for you, and I just feel like we connected and had so much synergy, but I would just love to know what led you to creating your workshops and what are you doing today? Because I know it's shifting a little bit in a beautiful way, but I would just love to know more about you and like why you wake up every morning to do this work.
Yes. So that's actually a very loaded question and a wonderful one because I get to tell a little bit more about the backstory. So I come from the for-profit world. As you mentioned, I was in the advertising agency world, love that, which again is all about color and art and design. And loved that career, loved that experience of helping people tell their story, marketing and branding wise. So it was an interesting segue. I took a short time off and I thought, I want to volunteer and just to see what else is out there. And when I volunteered, that was my entree into the nonprofit world. And through that little journey of a couple of years, I met the founder of an organization that was all about healing through making art. And that touched me. When you're on the wheel and you're just in the corporate environment, you don't really know that there's this whole other world out there that's all about cause and mission work. And so it really touched my heart. And I loved it so much that I decided to become this certified facilitator in this process of teaching how you can heal through this process of color in art. So it was just a wonderful experience. It was as I went around from all the different populations, from seniors to veterans to teens to the corporate world, there was this universal theme that we all have this inner world, this part of us that we can tap into that can help us heal through this process of tapping into your creativity. It's a wonderful way to explore that part of you. And it's something that people don't normally do. They don't realize that there's this wonderful gene inside of you that's dying to play. And this is how you access it. You come to a workshop and you get to play with color and art, and it taps into a side of you, connects you to your inner child a little bit. And all of a sudden you're exploring that wonderful world and you realize, wow, I feel so much better after going into that sort of place that it's the hidden side of us, yet it's got so much power in how we show up in the world. And so that was really the key, that when you go inward and do that, you're expressing yourself and releasing a lot of the stories that you tell yourself. And in these workshops, people go around and share the story of their art, and there's wonderful epiphanies, there's revelations, there's this release and relief of emotional bag and stuff that you carry around. And so when you're in a group setting, especially in the corporate wellness arena, it's a way to bond with your team in this sort of creative playtime environment. So you're off the clock. You could be in a retreat. You could be in this workshop on a Saturday, and you are now experiencing your team members in a whole different way and learning about yourself and learning more about them, which creates a more cohesive environment and experience for every single one that's in the workshop.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And I love your story. And thank you so much for sharing how you really got into this work and just dived right in to become certified and just really learn about the power of creativity. So I want to dive into that a little bit deeper and the healing power of creativity. Because when I hear art, I want to run the other way because I've never thought of myself as very creative in terms of art, like craft. I'm not the crafty mom. Like I will never do that. And when I think about like my kids, right? I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Their brains are so wired for creativity. When they're playing, they're making up stories, they're playing make-believe. And so there is the power of creativity within us, but somewhere along the way, we lose that creativity. So I would love to know more. And I know you posted this on LinkedIn the other day about we all have creativity within us. So can you dive a little bit deeper into what that looks like?
Yeah. A great teacher of mine said to me several years ago, reflect back on what you did as a child. What inspired you? How did you spend your time? What were you excited about? How were you wired as a child? So for me, I spent hours alone with coloring books. And that really was enlightening for me because I thought, wow, I was alone in my room coloring, listening to music at age 5, 6, 7, 10. And there was obviously something about how that made me feel for me to do that day after day. The solitude of it, the serenity. So when I fast forward all these years and see this work that I do now and this experience of being in these workshops and guiding people to this place, that's the secret. That's the secret to this. It's if you can go back to that little version of you and how you were creative as a child. Not everyone was into coloring. Maybe they were into writing or dance or singing or playing with Play-Doh, making things. So there's that creativity that if you can tap into that as an adult and allow yourself to just play, that you will activate that part of you. And again, yeah, we're so free and open to explore. Our imaginations are wild when we're kids. So the key is let's keep that as an adult. Let's keep that imagination spark. Let's go to that place when we need inspiration or we need a timeout or we need just quiet time to go, how can I find the answer? What would inspire me and how could I go to that place? And it's really just, it's the diversion. You remember recess when you're a child, you just couldn't wait for the bell to ring to go out and just shout and play and scream and be you. Well, I think we need those hour recesses in our corporate life to go and just explore what that might look like. So, yes, and to your point of people not feeling creative, it's really that. And by the way, there's probably one or two people in almost every single workshop where that's the dialogue in their head. And so very soon they see that this process is not about any kind of innate talent, although it can tap into that. It's the fun process of just allowing yourself to go and to be calm and to explore what it might be. I named this company Painting Your Heart because it's really tapping into the heart-centeredness of you as opposed to your mind dictating that you're creative or you're not creative. So, yes. So to believe that this exists within you and to give yourself permission to go there and just explore what that might look like. The sort of journey from the beginning of the workshop to the end, everyone is just astounded for the ones that feel like they are totally not creative and there's no part of them that could accomplish what they want to accomplish. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, I want to do this again because I've just realized so much about myself. And thank you for allowing me to go to this place and to now know that I can access this whenever I want to. So that's really the key. It's just unleashing that part of you that just wants to play. That's the beauty of this experience.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that you talked about really like diving into your inner child and understanding what you like to do as a kid and really tapping into that place and allowing yourself to go there. That's so beautiful. And earlier you mentioned when you're facilitating these workshops, you see a stronger bond between teammates. You see a stronger bond within the organizational culture. And we talk a lot about on this podcast about specifically the emotional connection process, but providing that space for people to connect, to bond, to have that healing space and bring themselves to the table. So can you talk a little bit more about what that means in an organizational or corporate environment, nonprofit environment? Like how does offering creativity and space for people to go there help create that stronger bond within teams?
Well, it really comes down to the sharing portion of a workshop. So there might be a workshop where the theme could be empathy, or another one about resilience or stress relief or harmony, so many different themes. So as I'm guiding them through this process and the prompts and they're creating art making and using color, they're in a relationship with this piece of art in front of them. And I give everyone the opportunity to share the story. So when they share the story of the art and I'm asking them questions about what I see and to share what that might mean for them or anything about the experience. So they're learning something about themselves in that moment as they're actually choosing the words to express what they're seeing. And there's obviously an emotional component to that. Sometimes it's, wow, I just can't believe what I realized. And they're sharing something very poignant about themselves. It's an intimate environment as well. So everyone else in the room is hearing the story and learning something new about them. And that is the key. That's where that emotional connection happens, because now everyone else in the room can relate to it in their own way and what that share means for them and their life. And so there's this new sort of woven experience of emotions that each person in the room is now feeling more empathy, or they've learned something new about what their personal life might be and how they were bringing a personal life into their work experience and how that impacts them in their daily life at work. It's just any conversation, any relationship we have, sometimes that is influenced by conversation we had the night before, an experience we had in the morning, some emotional challenge that we're bringing into our life, into our work experience, that's going to impact how we show up and how we relate to people and how we're feeling. So it's the individual stories. And once you go around the room, everyone is just feeling so grateful to be in that hour, those 2 hours of learning something new, hearing the stories, and feeling the compassion for their teammates. And once they want more, there's adrenaline, there's something there where you go, I want to experience again. There's more emotions that can come out. There's more stories to be told once you tell one. And then it's, wow, let's see what this looks like with a different theme or even a different group. So that's going to build a more, I would say, harmonious, connected, passionate team of people, all driven with the same mission, with the same cause, with the same desire to make this work for everyone. And of course, all of that. So people feel more innovative. They've tapped into their imagination. They feel more creative. They feel more energized. They're just so empowered by the experience that they become more productive, more focused. So there's so many benefits of this experience that can connect a team and make it more cohesive. And of course, all of that is going to affect the bottom line and how much they are together. So it's like a great pep rally. It's just like, wow, we've just had this creative experience. Now I want to share it with more people. And yeah, so everyone's happier. There's more of a balance. They've told their stories. They've let go of some of the stuff that maybe there's been fear to share because they're in work and they may not want to share. They may not want to bring their personal world into their business world. But hey, if the personal world isn't working and it's going to affect how you show up at work. It's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect everything. So this is an opportunity to meld the two in a safe environment with your teammates that just bring you tighter together.
Imagine a fundraising partner that not only helps you raise more money, but also supports you in retaining your donors. A partner that helps you raise funds both online and on location so you can grow your impact faster. That's DonorBox, a comprehensive suite of tools, services, and resources that give fundraisers just like you a custom solution to tackle your unique challenges, helping you achieve the growth and sustainability your organization needs, helping you help others. Visit donorbox.org to learn more. I love that. And that's a lot of the work I do as well, is really building that cohesion and that safe place to bring your whole self to the organization and share your fears and your needs. And I think, like you said, we're so outcome driven, but at the end of the day, when you get in that human focused sharing, it, emotional sharing, I guess you should say, that's what drives productivity. That's what drives efficiency, is really taking that step back. And obviously you facilitate these workshops. And how can leaders in nonprofits and corporate environments continue this energy on past the workshop? Because I always say, like, I guess in my own experience, like I'll do a workshop, I'll have a week to a month high where I'm like, this feels so good. I want to do this again. I want to keep this going, keep learning, keep establishing these routines in my own life and within my team culture. So how can leaders continue to facilitate this idea of creativity and expressing people's emotions or how they're feeling within their organizational culture beyond the workshops, or just where can they start to facilitate this within their own teams?
Yeah. So first of all, a series of workshops is really optimal, and everyone in the business, in the company should experience. But I actually go to, if the corporate leaders experienced it as well. It could be the leaders of the company, the managers, whoever is leading the team, they could have their own workshop separate from employees and staff. The other thing you could do, you could incorporate journaling into a workshop, or you could, and I also do this already, there's a calming sort of meditation experience that's part of every workshop, which gets people down, centered into themselves. So there's so many different modalities that you could offer to the team that just continues to explore the human spiritual side of ourselves, because until that side of us feels present, some degree of happiness, then when we're in that place, then we can show up at work with a greater sense of purpose. So it's really exploring all the other modalities, but I would say, at least on a monthly basis, just keep these creative workshops going, because there's an endless amount of themes and exercises that I create. Every single one is customized for whatever the company wants and needs and whatever they say their challenge might be. So I think that repetition for sure. And because what's going to happen is the employees are going to ask for it. They're going to want to do another one of those, because I felt so much better and I really felt connected to my team. So anything that allows employee engagement, that lets them be themselves without judgment, without kind of boundaries and stipulations of this, under this umbrella of creative playtime, is really the answer there, whatever that might look like.
Yes, that's so important. And you talk a lot about within these workshops, like going into yourself, understanding your level of own creativity. And you mentioned spiritual modalities. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into some tools that we can use and what other modalities are available, because in my own journey, I've seen meditation really help me. Doing breath work, guided meditations has really helped me come back to myself and tap into that higher self, journaling and things like that. And I always say, I've said this multiple times on this podcast, self-aware leaders are exceptional leaders. We need to understand our own emotions and understand ourselves and how that relates to the context of the people that we're interacting with. And so can you talk a little bit more about, we've talked about that in a cultural setting, but as a leader, how can we tap into some of those spiritual modalities to become more self-aware so that we can manage when people share their fears and their needs, we can be more emotionally responsive and engaged?
Yeah. Right. I think you pretty much named my top 3 or 4. The breath work and being centered and this whole idea of being grounded in the moment and being able to maybe visualize your day of what's ahead for you and journaling. I actually wake up every morning and journal whatever comes out of me. There's no real agenda, but it's anything that can serve as a release. So you're releasing the breath, you're writing, you've got proof in front of you of the words in the story you're telling in your journaling. There's so many different kinds of meditation, but that quiet time of just focusing on the closed eyes, imagination. I focus on colors of our energy body. And so there's this just being calm. I think being calm and centered and with your intention of the day is, if that doesn't work for you, then maybe there's some sort of physical release, maybe doing early workouts so you get the physical energy out of you. And so you feel, okay, I feel really good. I've let that out. And then you do the mental. And then as you're doing the mental, then it can tap into the emotion of where you are in the moment. So it is probably a physical, mental, spiritual sort of process. But I feel like every morning, every leader and every person could do this, even if it's for 10 minutes, that they would get to this place of, okay, I'm owning my day now. I visualized it. I know how I want to show up. And you've heard it from so many different spiritual leaders. Setting that intention is just so important. And if you find yourself getting sidetracked, which of course I do, and all the time, I sit down just for 5 minutes and go, okay, where am I? Let me assess where I am. So those little mini breaks can help you navigate the rest of the day. And it's really, again, like giving yourself permission to just have those little breaks to get yourself back on track. And if you need to make a longer one, if you need to take the walk, if you need to, I've got to cut out at 3:00 today because for whatever reason, that you need to give yourself that time and space to find yourself and get yourself back to where you want to be so that you can be that best leader. So yes, there's all those modalities that you mentioned and more, but whatever resonates with you, whatever it is. Some people might like to just do chores around the house to give themselves mindless tasks that somehow open up the space to get the answers or to have that special thing come in because they're allowing their mind to rest, because we're always thinking, what else can I do? And so this idea of relaxing, breathing, just sitting. Again, another thing is these silence retreats, which I've never done, but I can imagine how amazing that must feel for a week of just sitting in silence and being with yourself, and what kinds of things might come up and what you might be able to work through and release and learn about yourself. So it could be the half-hour workout, or it could be the 5-minute breaks that just keep you on track throughout the day.
Thank you so much for sharing. Those are some powerful ways. And I always like to say people can try different things on different modalities and see what resonates with them. Working out has always been I just zone out, don't think about anything, just focus on lifting or whatever the task is at hand. And the physical benefits are there, obviously, but there are so many mental benefits to exercising, obviously getting a good night's sleep, drinking water, and taking those little breaks. For me, dancing has been one where that physical release, I put on a good song. Sometimes I'm doing it while I'm cleaning. So I'll clean and listen to music. It's always a dance party in my household. And I love the idea of visualizing your day. I just started doing that. And it really does set up that different mindset because I'm so prone to waking up and being like, I woke up feeling anxious or I didn't get a good night's sleep. Today is going to suck. But that subtle mind shift of this is how I choose that I want to represent my day really changes that perspective. And I know before you're talking about how you're entering into that new year and you've changed your perspective, and that really shows up in different ways. And it's those simple shifts, while hard to really build those habits. Once you get those simple shifts, it's just profound the way that you're able to live your life and the things that are able to come your way because you've had those subtle perspective shifts. You've made those daily non-negotiables to yourself and are really committed to showing up for yourself so that you can show up for other people.
Yes, exactly. And as you were talking, it made me think about the language that I use sometimes. And it's just your thoughts are just running and there might be some sort of negative thing going. Let me just shift that to I can, I will, I am, as opposed to that negative thought. So I'm very conscious of my language. And that is huge because that impacts everyone else. Whatever comes out of me is going to touch everyone else. So you can imagine how that affects the corporate arena and the team and the dynamics of leader and employees and all of that. So that language that is spoken is going to be received differently by each person. So very, very important to focus on the communication and how you're communicating and how that might be received. So yeah, this is all obviously a journey that doesn't happen overnight. But the more that you can take those breaks and focus on that and be aware of all these little new habits like you talked about and just implementing them in the small ways throughout your day. And it's going to affect everyone profoundly, including yourself.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about how you talk to yourself or how you think about yourself can come out and project on other people. I realized that as a parent, like my 3-year-old mimics and copies everything that I say. So if I'm negatively speaking about myself, he'll say things back to me that should hurt my feelings. But what I realize is that he's saying them because he's hearing me talk about myself that way. And so he's able to pick up on that energy or the words that I'm saying and transform them into his own little 3-year-old mind that those are things that I believe about myself. Right. And so I think that relates to us as leaders, right? We have to be conscious about how we're talking to ourselves, how we're talking about others too, what the energy we're putting out into the world, because people pick up on that and they, whether they consciously or subconsciously do it, they take that on themselves and then shifts that energy culture and that dynamic that you have.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how wonderful it is for companies to have these brainstorming sessions where the actual intention is to have it be a clearing. Let's clear the air session and invite the managers and the employees, or maybe if it's a large company, small teams at a time. What's on your mind? What would you like to share? What's impacted you negatively, positively? Let's get some stuff out because all of that is now new knowledge. That's now, okay, I had no idea that what I said impacted you that way, but thank you for letting me know because now I'll be more careful. And then so one employee will speak up. And so then you've got your team members and they're like, I'm so glad you said that because I was feeling the same thing, but I was a little fearful to say anything. So give your team the forum to just, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, to just share whatever's on their mind and make it a safe, sort of neutral environment where anything can be spoken and shared. That's so powerful for leaders to know that because now they get to go, okay, now I know how I need to change how I'm showing up. Or let's bring someone else in because maybe there's other people that can help to help the situation or create a new system. Could be the system's not working. So there's so much that would come out of, as I reflect back on the leaders actually experiencing this workshop, because they're just like us. When's the last time they took an hour creative play session? Wherever they are on the ladder, as far as their leader, let them experience what that's like to release some emotional, tap the emotional well and get something out and learn something new about themselves, whether it is as a leader or how they're showing up or how they can improve. So, yeah, this is for everyone. This is for everyone because it's the entire collective and how we react to every other person that's around us. And that would just really bring the hierarchy down to an equal level where we're all on the same page. We all want to succeed. We want everyone else to succeed. We've got a lot of this new information now, and it's like everybody's each other's biggest fan. And yeah, so I don't know how I got off on that, but I just realized that if everyone could experience this, it would be such a tight-knit, focused powerhouse of a company, whatever it is, because we're all in this together. But it's the knowing in this sort of brainstorming session. It's this new information that you're receiving and what to do with it and how you take that and affect change, a greater success.
Hey there, podcast family. If you're like me and deeply committed to improving your leadership skills and fostering better connections with your team, I've got something truly amazing to share with you. I'm proud to introduce the EMC Masterclass, something I talk about often as a certified trainer. It's an incredible program developed by the renowned Dr. Lola Gershfeld, an organizational psychologist and corporate emotional connection expert. You might remember her from a podcast episode where she shared invaluable insights into the world of emotional connection. Dr. Gershfeld's EMC Leaders courses are designed for anyone working with people, whether you're a manager, supervisor, team leader, educator, coach, mentor, or a team member. This program is truly for everyone looking to enhance their communication and collaboration skills to raise more revenue for their mission. Now, let me tell you why the EMC Masterclass is a game changer. Dr. Gershfeld's groundbreaking emotional connection process has been integrated into top universities' curriculum and recognized by international organizations like ICF, HRCI, and SHRM. Humans are wired to seek emotional safety, and when we feel safe, we're more likely to take risks, share innovative ideas, and collaborate effectively. The EMC process is the catalyst for creating that emotional safety within your team. The virtual EMC Masterclass consists of 8 modules with 4 hours of expertly recorded material, 13 quizzes to reinforce your learning, and a workbook filled with activities for offline practice and something I still refer to daily. Ready to become an emotional connection master? Dr. Gershfeld is offering an exclusive detail for our podcast listeners. Use the code LEADWITHHEART to enjoy a generous 10% discount on the EMC Masterclass. Head over to emcleaders.com and enroll in the EMC Masterclass today. Yeah, that's so important. I'm reading the book Originals by Adam Grant. It's part of one of my daily non-negotiables. If you're reading 10 pages, you start that habit. You're like, read 10 pages. I'll end up reading 20. But I was just reading about how some of the most successful businesses provide that space for people to speak up, for people to dissent or have differing opinions. The businesses that fail are people that hire people that are culture fits and just have to be yes people that just conform to whatever the organizational culture is. But those that are able to speak up is when, like you said, that innovation happens, that creativity happens, that productivity is driven forward. So there's so many benefits of creating that psychological safety within your own culture to allow people to speak up about things like that they're disagreeing with, or having that space to share their fears and their needs so that they can show up as their best selves in that environment. I want to shift a little because I know you're shifting your business a little bit to more corporate wellness. So I would love to know where you're at. I know it's a new year and you have some new ideas on how you want to present what you're offering. So what does corporate wellness look like for you today and moving forward?
Yeah. So thank you for that question. Painting Your Heart Workshops was created in 2018. And I was basically working with nonprofits and healing trauma in all of these different populations. So moving into the corporate wellness, again, the language has to be different. Not that we aren't still healing trauma, but that's not the main focus. The main focus is to create the best, most cohesive team. So I say that because I am now in the process of rebranding. So logo, slogan, positioning statement, what that looks like. And that's just starting now. And that's the gift of 23, where I'm like, yeah, it's time now. 2018, we've been through the 3-year pandemic. So many things changed in the corporate world as well. The reason why I want to focus on corporate is the challenges now, the what's going to best create a harmonious life for all the people and the leaders. And so with that rebranding, it's now going to exactly say who and what I'm doing, who I can help, and how I can help in this corporate world. So I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and it's for, again, like I said, it's for the leaders, it's for the team members, and it can have any theme, any, whatever the owner chooses as their focus, whatever the challenges are in that business, or whatever they really want for their employees to have a greater work-life experience. So there's really no end to the themes and the exercises that I could offer, whether it is resilience or harmony, compassion at work, or emotional connection, whatever that theme is, stress relief. I can create a workshop, and it could be a 1-hour lunch and learn where there's a small group of people participating in a simple exercise. It could be a 90-minute to 2-hour workshop. And I do want to add that the smaller groups are better, because the most important thing is giving everyone an opportunity to share. That's when the real benefits happen within the team that build those stronger bonds. The more intimate it is, the more each participant is open to sharing, because as it gets larger and larger, sometimes there's a little bit of, you know what, I don't know if I want to share that with this large group. There's this sense of safety in smaller numbers, I think. So, yeah, so that would be, so there'll be a 90-minute, 2-hour workshop. I also would love to be part of half-day retreats or full-day retreats where Painting Your Heart is just one course over the class of a Saturday this is more focused on emotional connection, where there's other things that might happen. So there's various ways that people can experience a workshop, various levels depending on their needs, their time frame, the number of people they have. If it's a larger company and they want everyone in their company to experience a workshop, then we set up some sort of weekly workshop so that everyone can participate.
I am so excited for you and this new rebranding and journey that you're going on to offer these services. I think they're so needed now, and leaders and organizations really need to take time to invest in their people and in themselves and really elevate the bond between their teams so that like we've said all over this podcast, increase productivity and efficiency. That's the way to do it. Before we wrap up, I have two more questions. I've been loving to ask this question of people before I asked, where can people find you and what you're offering? What's bringing you joy these days?
What's bringing me joy? So I am deciding to go back into painting myself. This is something I have not given myself since I really got certified in 2016. So it's been quite a few years. I've done some other creative processes, but I want to start to paint again. And my biggest dream is one day to take one of my own workshops. So I don't know how that would happen, but yes. So I'm going to do more painting. I write a lot, and it's in the moment thing. Whenever I'm inspired, I write down some of the posts that I do on Facebook or LinkedIn. It's really, I love the writing. I love expressing. When you mentioned dance, I'm inspired by dancing and music. And so however I can creatively express myself is a new theme and intention for 23.
I love that for you. And I will be celebrating you all along the way of everything that you are taking on and really tapping in to that place, because I believe that it'll help everything else come to fruition. So I'm so excited for you. And I love following you and just learning about your journey. So where can people find you and reach out about workshops or just learning more about the processes that you're going to be offering?
Okay, so I am on LinkedIn, and my website is paintingyourheart.com. So you can connect with me there. LinkedIn is really the main social media outlet I use. I do have a Facebook account, but LinkedIn would be where you could reach me.
Amazing. Well, we will link to all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Christine. This conversation, again, has been such a joy.
Thank you, Haley. I loved it.
If you have valued these stories or learned something from what you've heard, please share this podcast episode or follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your support, and together we can build a better community and world.